Hello there, today we're going to make a mixed mac and cheese. So it's like a mac and cheese, just a little bit different and with a Mexican flavour. So to start with, we're going to just fry off some onions and garlic in about a tablespoon of good Scottish rapeseed oil. And we want to fry these until the raw smell's gone. So you've got a couple of medium onions and we've got 8 cloves of garlic. And we're just going to cook these, as I say, till the raw smell goes. Okay, the raw smell's going down now, or gone down now, so we're going to add some mince. I'm using a 5% lean mince. Use whatever you want. I wouldn't go above 15 for this because you're adding cheese. The fat would sit there. So now we're just going to cook this till it changes colour. Meanwhile, we're going to add 3 dried red chillies. Now you want to add 1, you can add 1. You want to add 5, you can add 5. It's up to you. I like mine sort of a medium hot, so I'm adding 3. You don't even have to have the chilli if you don't want it. Into that also we're putting a couple of teaspoons of Italian seasoning. You can get that at your supermarket. A couple of teaspoons of smoked paprika. There we go. 1 bay leaf and a teaspoon of whole cumin seeds. If you've got cumin powder, I'm going to add 1.5 actually. If you've got cumin powder, you can use that, but whole ones give that little bite when you eat it. So we're now going to cook that out until all the meat is coloured up and absorb the spices. Okay, all the meat's changed colour now. Incidentally, I'm using an oven-proof pan to cook this in, so I haven't got to wash 2 pots up. So this can go in the oven later. But into that now, we're going to add some tomatoes. Use the best you can afford. These are really good. These are cherry tomatoes from, you can see that, from Asda's. They're 80p a tin, so not mega cheap, not mega expensive, but they do have a really good flavour and they're not bitter. So I'm just going to pop a potato masher on them, mash them up a bit. With tomatoes, don't put them in a liquidiser because if you liquidise the seeds, it turns the tomatoes sour. So that's that, we'll put it in. Now we're not thickening this sauce because we're going to put pasta in it. We want it quite loose and runny. Into that also we're going to add 3 oxo cubes, or whichever cube you like to use. I like oxo. That's 3 of those. We're also going to add a little bit of Compton's gravy salt to taste. Don't forget, you're going to be putting a load of stuff in there, so you want it a bit salty. A good whack of black pepper. Again, if you like it spicy, add more pepper. Also into that, we're going to add a tin of kidney beans. Now I put the water in as well because it does contain some of the flavour of the beans. So tip that all in now. Give it a good mix up. Oh, that's looking good already. And then once it comes to the boil, turn it down to a really low setting. Whack a lid on it. And then the longer you cook it out, the better the flavour will be. You can just cook it just enough. It's up to you. But if you want to put that in a slow pot and cook it for a couple of hours, you'll get a much better flavour. I'm not going to because I'm hungry. So we're going to pop a lid on that and gently cook that out. Meanwhile, we're going to get the stuff and do the cheese sauce ready. I've just looked and this is quite thick, so I'm going to add a cup of water to it. You can let it reduce down if it gets too runny, but I don't want it to thicken up too much. Incidentally, that was 300 grams of 5% mince that I put in there. So, for the sauce, I know normally a white sauce is made with butter, but I got told off by my doctor about cholesterol, so I'm going to use cold pressed rapeseed oil because it's a lot lower in saturated fats. All those burgers catch up at you in the end. So I'm putting in 1/3 of a cup of rapeseed oil. Let that warm up. And then 1/3 of a cup of plain flour. And then we're just going to cook that out to make our roux. If you don't cook it long enough, when your sauce is finished, you'll have a nasty floury taste. So we need to cook this for a good 5 minutes or so. Really cook it out until it goes sandy. Okay, so that's cooked out for about 5 minutes now. You don't want to let it colour, but you do definitely want to cook it out. So we're just going to, I've got a pint of skimmed milk here. Just going to add a bit at a time, like you would any white sauce. Now, if you wanted to add a splash of beer before the milk, that would make it really nice. Personally, I'd rather drink my beer, but there you go, that's a matter of choice. But it does make it nice. So I'm just going to keep adding this bit by bit till we've got a sauce. Okay, the sauce is all bubbling away now. It's all thickened up. Just going to take out the bay leaf. Now to make this cheesy, we're going to use a little trick. We're not, because cheddar is pretty expensive, we're going to use this burger cheese. We are going to use a bit of cheddar on top to make it nice, but in here we're going to use this. It melts beautifully and adds a nice creamy cheesiness to a sauce. I know it looks weird, but it really does work. Very versatile stuff, this. Your Koreans put it in their noodles to make it sort of creamy and cheesy. Works nice, actually. So that's about a packet of it. Just going to melt that into it. Going to add a little bit of English mustard. It's about a teaspoon, I suppose. About a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. That will melt it in. Some good sea salt. Now you can use white pepper. I like black. Good squirt of that. Mix all that in. You can see that's all melted in nice. Gonna add a little bit of cheddar as well. Mix it in. Now the chilli is about where I want it. I've checked the seasoning. If it's too bitter, you can drop a square of chocolate in. That will bring the sweetness up. But this is just about right because I used a good tomato. If you use the cheap tomatoes, you'll have to adjust the sweetness. So into that, I've got about a half pack of macaroni. It's macaroni and something else mixed. I'm going to mix all that in thoroughly before we do anything else. So I'll come back in a sec. Okay, so the cheese sauce is ready. I've checked the seasoning. You can add more cheese if you need to, but that's about right for me. So we're just going to pop the cheese sauce. Oh, I thought I took that out. Pop the cheese sauce over the top. You could, if you wanted to, just eat the pasta without the cheese sauce, put some parmesan over it, or you could just put cheddar over it and put it under the grill. Entirely up to you. This just makes it a little bit creamier. So, good wallop of grated cheddar. So we get a nice crust going. Yeah, we're just going to put some little bits of tomato on there. Just a few for a bit of colour. Some pickled jalapeno. Again, you don't have to put it in if you don't want it. I quite like the sharpness of it. And now we're going to throw this under the grill until it gets a nice crust on it. Well, there you go. That's it done. I'll just dish it up and get a photograph and put it online. It's a reasonably priced thing. You can make it cheaper by using a cheaper mince. Add less cheddar, more of the packet cheese. You know, it all depends on where you are in your budget. But it's a good Saturday night sort of dinner, or tea rather. And yeah, give it a try.